19 yaşındaki Sidney Powell az önce annesini ağır şekilde yaralamış ve şimdi de suçunu örtbas etmeye çalışıyordu.
She's in the ground. So there.
Who is it?
My mom.
I don't know what they have in there, but there's a female down in there. Yeah. What's going on?
Baba, polislerden bir telefon aldıktan sonra olay yerine geldi. Ancak olayın sorumlusunun kendi kızı olduğunu asla tahmin edemezdi. Dakikalar önce Sidney'in annesi Brenda Powell, kızının üniversitesinde görevlilerle telefonda konuşuyordu. Konuşma devam ederken üniversite görevlisi bir şeylerin ters gittiğini fark etti.
And Miss Gaffney, what happened next?
There was a very large or a very loud sort of thud sound, like a pounding or a thud, accompanied by a pretty loud scream. We're both talking into the phone, saying, you know, what's happening? Are you okay? Do you need help? What's going on?
And when you say the phone cut off, did the call drop or
the
was
call
it
dropped?
Okay.
We lost the call.
Okay.
We called the number back.
Brenda's number?
Brenda's number that she'd left, and we called twice, and there was no answer. It rang and rang and rang, and no answer. When it went to voicemail, we hung up and we called again. The phone was answered.
Okay.
On the third try to the number, and Dean Fraser said something along the lines of, "Brenda, is that you? Are you there?" And the voice on the other end said, "Yes, this is Brenda." Yes, this is Brenda.
Now, Miss Gaffney, did you recognize that voice on the line?
Yeah.
Okay, was that Brenda Powell?
It was not Brenda.
Who did you recognize that voice to?
I was sure it was Sidney. Both Dean Fraser and I looked at each other and sort of shook our heads at each other and said, that's not Brenda. And he then said, Sidney, I think this is you. This is not Brenda.
And what happened next?
The phone went dead.
Telefonun kapanmasının ardından üniversite görevlisi 911'i arayarak ihbarda bulundu. Operatör, devriyedeki tüm polis ekiplerine yüksek öncelikli acil durum koduyla olay yerine gitmeleri talimatını verdi. Çağrının hemen ardından bir polis memuru olay yerine ulaştı. Polis kapıyı çaldığı sırada içeriden bir çığlık duydu. Sesin geldiği yöne doğru hızla koşan polis memuru korkunç bir manzarayla karşılaştı.
I can hear her screaming in there. Front door is locked. Hacker police! Hacker police!
Bu sırada diğer polisler de olay yerine ulaşmaya başlamıştı. Evin ön kapısını açan Sidney, gelen polis memuruna panikle birinin evlerine girdiğini söylüyordu.
She's in the ground. So there's.
Who is it?
My mom. There's someone broke in the back window.
All right, hold on.
She's on the ground. And there's
Hold on. Where's your mom? Okay, stay right here.
No, there's so much blood. No, please.
Man!
She's in the coin now. No.
Stop! Hold on, we gotta figure out what's going on.
Car 9, get that 32 rolling here quick. We got a female down, blood all over the place. Sergeant Smart units, we got a crime scene. Take her outside.
Come on. Come on.
Is she gonna be okay?
Come on.
I don't.
Come on. You just need to cooperate with me, all right?
You got there's blood all over. I don't even know if she's breathing. Secure the scene. She looks like a 22. She looks like she's been down for a while. There's blood all over the place. There's a knife by her head and stuff like that, and there's a huge pool of blood. No, I think she just walked in on it. There's a broken window in the back, so if you can just put up some crime scene tape. As soon as AFD gets here, they're going to pronounce her, I'm sure. Sam, you want to check her? I don't think she's breathing.
Polis ekipleri yaptıkları incelemede mağdurun yaklaşık 30 kez bıçaklandığını ve başına sert bir cisimle darbe aldığını tespit etti. Hayati fonksiyonlarının durduğu belirlenmesine rağmen memurlar tıbbi müdahalede bulunarak kadını yaşama döndürmeye çalıştı. Bu esnada Sydney evin dışına çıkarıldı. Kısa süre sonra olay yerine ulaşan baba gördükleri karşısında büyük bir şok yaşadı.
Huh?
I want my dad!
What happened? What's going on? What's going on?
We heard a bang. We heard a bang. And she told me to get out. And then I heard screaming. So I came back and she was on the ground.
Okay, you heard a
I ran
bang.
out back. There was a bang. Someone broke in.
Okay. What is your name?
Sydney?
Are you cut?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're cut somewhere.
I don't think so.
Yeah, your hand.
No, I was helping her. I grabbed her.
All right, stop. I'll tell you what, can you sit on the ground here real quick? Come on. Come
You
on.
said the ground.
Yeah, you're fine right there.
No.
You're fine right there.
I grabbed the knife.
Before the Britain Street exit ramp. A truck lost concrete.
This is minor. They might have a more, I don't know, check that victim in there. She's got cuts on her hands. I don't know what they have in there, but there's a female down in there. Yeah. What's going on?
Baba, bugün öğle saatlerinde kızının üniversitesinden bir telefon aldı ve kızının artık okula kaydının bulunmadığını öğrendi. Durumu hemen eşine bildirdi ve bununla ilgili kızlarıyla konuşmaya karar verdiler. Ancak birkaç saat sonra polislerden gelen bir telefon her şeyi değiştirdi.
I don't know. We just got
dad. I'm the dad.
Okay,
Sydney. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Daddy!
What? What the hell? Where's my wife?
The window's broken, Dad!
Where?
The back window's broken in!
So you're gonna have to.
Daddy!
There's officers inside there, so
I don't know! There
go
was
check
so
the
much
lady in the
blood!
house. Okay, she's got minor cuts here. So.
You need to go outside, sir.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Outside. Back to the
Somebody
right.
call
All the way
G-
back to the
Somebody
right.
call GDs.
Yeah, he's.
Somebody
You already
call
called
GDs.
us. You need to stay outside.
Go ahead.
Please have a seat.
I don't want to. I don't see my dad.
Okay.
Polis babayı bu manzarayı daha fazla görmemesi için dışarı çıkarıyor. Bu arada Sydney'in de yaralı olduğu fark ediliyor. Şok geçirdiği için kendini toparlamakta zorlanıyor ve kendisine sorulan sorulara net cevaplar vermiyordu.
What's your name, ma'am? Sorry, what's your name again? She's got cuts on her hands.
Okay.
So.
Take care of her.
Dave, I think this is. Are you dad?
Yeah, I'm the dad.
Can you stay here with them?
We have another. I'll call for another med unit for her.
Somebody has my wife.
12.
12.
Can you start another med unit on here? We have a female conscious breathing cuts to her hands.
Got me.
You said your name's Sydney? Ma'am, is your name Sydney? What's your last name?
He's probably.
No, he's in Talmadge. Yes, I talked to him.
What is it? Powell. What's your date of birth? Huh?
Yeah.
What's your date of birth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another one
no.
coming.
No, but somebody's got to take.
I have another med unit coming. All right, you got some gloves?
I got some.
Right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the other one. I mean, she just got cuts to her hands here.
Oh, it's just a cut.
Yeah. So I don't know. Oh, we don't, sir. We don't. Does she have any mental issues?
No. She was having a little trouble at school at Mount Union, and she came back home to try and work things out. Just today is when I found it. I think she has been going to class for the last couple of weeks.
So she just came home today?
Yeah, today. It's like 11 o'clock.
Sydney.
Oh, what's going on with
Sydney. What's going on?
All right, and why did you go home?
See why she was home.
Okay. Did you have any concern for her at that time?
Just because Mount Union said she wasn't year old, but no, I was going to go home and see why she was home so early. And
And did you take your phone with you when you went home?
no,
And why not?
I just left it at work so the 360 app wouldn't show me coming home.
Okay. Did you not want Sydney to be able to see that you were coming home?
I would imagine that was my intent.
Okay. Did you stay at home? I'm sorry, do you need a minute?
No, go ahead.
Fine, sir. Did you stay at home until Brenda got there, or did you leave before she got home?
I left before she got.
Polisler ağır yaralı annenin yanında bir tava ve bir bıçak buldu. Ancak ne yaşandığıyla ilgili kafalarında hala birçok soru işareti vardı. Olay hakkında daha fazla bilgi edinmek amacıyla polis ekipleri komşulara yönlendirildi. Yetkililer olay anında herhangi bir görgü tanığının olup olmadığını tespit etmeye çalıştı. Bu sırada olay yerinde detaylı incelemeler yürütülüyordu. Memurlar üst kattan sızan kan izlerini tespit etti. Ayrıca evin çeşitli bölgelerinde kanlı ayak izlerine rastlandı. Sydney bir şahsın pencereyi kırarak içeri girdiğini ve tüm bu olayların onun tarafından gerçekleştirildiğini iddia etti. Ancak olayın gerçek yüzünü anlamalarına yardımcı olabilecek tek kişi babaydı.
She's not mental issues. She's not happy at school. And she said she seems to have. She said today, like all her friends have their shit together and she doesn't. So yeah, we were putting two and two together a while ago. She'd come home on the weekends out of the blue, and nothing really mattered. So. Do I need to call Brenda's mom?
Probably should. Why don't you just wait and we'll see what's happening.
Well, I can't see anything.
Well,
I know they don't want me
they
to.
don't want you to.
What the?
Here's what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to talk to this officer real quick. If you need to call somebody, go ahead and call somebody. If you want out, I'll get you out, okay? I just don't want you standing in the rain out here.
I'm freezing. I just got to see what the hell's going on.
Just give me 1 second, okay? Let me ask you, is she having a problem with a guy at school or no?
No, not that.
Okay.
Hey there, can you come up here? They're taking Brenda to General Hospital. I don't know. I'm in the back of a cop car. There's probably 10 cops. Supposedly it looks like a break-in, but I don't know what's going on. But they're taking her to Akron General. What the hell is going on?
All I can tell you is I know that they're both injured.
How bad is Brenda?
I didn't see Brenda. I don't know.
Well, they were in there a while. There was no rush.
I know that they want to get her to the hospital as quick as possible. So if there's no doubt, they wouldn't be taking her to the hospital. Okay, so I just want you to know that. All right, they're going to take her to the hospital.
They think Sydney did this?
I don't know that. I think that with the broken glass, they want to make sure that there's not a suspect of any kind. That's why I asked about a boyfriend. I don't know.
There's not. I mean, I don't know.
Or a guy giving her a hard time.
No.
Anne, ağır yaralı halde hastaneye kaldırıldı. Sydney de yaralı olduğu için başka bir hastaneye götürüldü. Ancak o gece toplanan deliller onun suçlu olabileceğine işaret ettiğinden tutuklandı. Ancak çevrelerindeki herkes anne ve kızın çok iyi anlaştığını ve aralarında herhangi bir sorun bulunmadığını söylüyordu.
Tell us about Sydney's relationship with Brenda.
It's almost unbreakable. They really were.
They were unbreakable, really close.
They were really close.
Did Sydney and Brenda argue?
No.
Did they ever have loud screaming matches?
No.
Did any arguments ever did they ever get physical?
No.
Was that a part of who Brenda was or could be?
Not in the least.
Was before March 3rd violence a part of who Sydney was or could be?
No.
Quiet spoken most of the time. We laughed and so forth, but she was a worrier, a little bit of a worrier, and but child worrier type things, like worrying about overrunning a bucket in the barn or something. But other than that, she was always sweet and kind. They also spent a lot of time doing puzzles together, and quiet time that they spent together.
Did you ever see or hear about Sydney and Brenda fighting or arguing or talking disrespectful to each other?
No, never.
Peki ama Sydney, annesini neden bu kadar acımasızca öldürmüştü? Hayatındaki her şey mükemmel görünürken, bu korkunç eylemin arkasındaki motivasyon neydi? Dedektifler, bu soruların cevabını bulabilmek için Sydney'in oda arkadaşıyla konuşmaya karar verdiler.
Lauren, first of all, thanks for coming in. We know that this whole thing's difficult for you, and you're trying to make sense of it, and so are we. We're just talking to you about what you know, not about what you've heard or anything. Okay. Just trying to find out as much as we can, so we can, kind of make sense of this ourselves. So if you want a break or anything, just let us know. But why don't we start off with? Tell us about Sydney. When did you first meet, and how long have you known each other?
I've known Sydney for 6 years. We met the first day of summer gym in high school, and then we were best friends ever since. Very close.
And what are you doing now?
I'm at school.
Okay, where do you go to school at?
I go to the University of Mount Union.
Okay. And what year are you in there?
I'm a sophomore. Yeah.
Now, we understand that Sydney was your roommate at Mount Union?
Yes, she was for last year and then this year until she left.
Okay. So how did that work? Did you both plan on going to Mount Union, or? Okay.
Yeah, she liked it first, and I was like, I don't know. And then I visited there, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the place to be. And then when we both got accepted, we were like, oh, we're definitely being roommates.
Okay. And so you've been friends ever since your freshman year at St. B? Mm-hmm. Go over each other's houses, everything like that.
Yep.
Lauren'ın hem Sydney'i hem de annesini yakından tanıyor olması dedektifler açısından kritik bir öneme sahipti. Bu sayede Sydney'i daha iyi anlayacak ve anne-kız ilişkileri hakkında daha detaylı bilgilere ulaşabileceklerdi.
So, Lauren, let's talk about this. You're her best friend, and I know this is difficult, but tell us about her relationship with her parents.
Her and her parents had a really good relationship. Like, her mom and her were best friends. Probably, like, they did everything together. Like, one of the reasons she went home was to be with her mom. They were always close. She never said anything bad about her mom. She never ever talked about having an argument with her mom. Like, I can't recall every time she'd be going home, she's like, I can't wait to see my mom. Or when she goes home for weekends, she'd be like, oh, my mom wants me to come home so we can hang out and like watch movies. And she loved being home. And she had a good relationship with her dad too. Like, I know that her and her dad like to watch like Star Wars together, and he always like cooked food at the house. Like he liked cooking, and she'd always talk about how good his food was and what they would get each other for Christmas and things about spring break. Like she loved being home like with her family.
When she's, once she got to Mount Union, or anytime actually, did Sydney ever drink alcohol at all, or she did? Mm-hmm. Okay, just kind of describe that for us. I mean, we've all been college age, so. And
no, I don't usually like drink a lot, and if I do, it's one. But she liked to drink. There was an incident in the fall of our freshman year where she drank too much, and she wasn't alcohol poisoned, but she did end up in the hospital. And her mom came and got her at like 2 in the morning, but she did end up in the hospital that day because she drank like mixed drinks and drank too much.
Had you ever seen her taking any drugs or anything, or any medications for nothing? Nothing at all? No. Is there anything that you know of that did you hear from anybody else that she might have done that? Have you ever heard anything like that?
No, I not.
Okay. Did she have any boyfriends or any guy friends that she met at Mount Union or back here?
We hung out with fraternity guys, and like she had the same guy friends I did. She did have a boyfriend from about like December before break until January when she came back. They broke up.
So, it was like a month or so?
Yeah, very short.
Do you know his name?
Dominic Zappa.
Zappa?
Yeah.
So what made it break up?
He cheated on her on New Year's.
Oh, kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll make you happy.
No, yeah. So yeah, they broke up.
How did she find out that happened?
I had friends at the party that called me and told me, and then I told her.
Okay.
Dedektifler, Sydney'in erkek arkadaşından uyuşturucu kullanımına kadar birçok konuda sorular sordu. Ancak gözle görülür önemli bir sorun gözükmüyordu.
So, what are you studying at Mount Union?
Education.
Education?
Yes.
And what was Sydney taking?
Well, she started off in exercise science freshman year, her first semester, but then she didn't like the classes, so she switched over to psychology and sociology, but then she didn't really like that, so this year she switched to education, and then she didn't like that either, and that's one of the reasons she left, is because she really couldn't find what she liked. So she was trying to figure it out.
So she just wasn't, did it seem like, how did this like kind of change affect her? I mean, did it affect her moods at all? Did she seem concerned about it? Or tell us about that.
I think she kept a lot of stuff hidden because when we were just talking or with our friends, she always seemed happy. Like she seemed okay, like I said, I couldn't tell until the end where she was kind of just like struggling and she kind of was sad and just like, Lauren, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, you just need to find what makes you happy and like just you need to find what you like to do.
So when do you think that it really started affecting her? That like, look, this is, I'm really having problems, and this is I have to. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Tell us when you think that it really started affecting her, like often.
Like her anxiety. Well, I know she's had anxiety for a while, but I think this last semester, like starting coming back in January, is when it really started. Like she was kind of more like upset because she really didn't know what she wanted to do. Like she didn't like her classes, because that's when she started the education classes, and like my friends and I were worried for her because we didn't know what was going on because she wouldn't tell us, and like there was problems with like housing or something. Just like we shared a room and had like put names on the doors, and her name wasn't on it when we got back, and we were confused about that. And she said it's because they messed up because she didn't sign the forms right or something, but it kind of never got fixed. And then she left. And my friends and I were just worried because we didn't even know if she got any books for her classes. Like we were trying to ask her questions like that, and like she's like, no, I have books and I have stuff for my classes, but like I do homework all the time, and I don't think I saw her doing a lot of homework the last couple weeks. So I think this last semester, this January, part when she was there kind of affected her most.
So when you came back from Christmas break, you didn't see her name on the door.
Yeah.
And when did she come back?
She came back the same day.
Same day?
Yeah.
Did you come together?
No.
Okay.
No, she came in her own car.
And so take us through again, her name wasn't on the door.
Yeah.
And how did...
So I guess the dorm people do that?
Yeah, so the RAs do that.
Okay.
So we were like, oh, what happened? Like, maybe you should go ask the RA, because people were asking, like, why is her name on the door? I'm like, I don't know. So she was kind of hesitant to ask the RA, so that's when we were kind of just like, what's going on? Like, my sweet mate, Alyssa, and I were asking, like, oh, what's going on? And Sydney's just said that when she signed out the forms wrong, so she was meeting with residents, like, a lot in the last couple weeks to kind of figure out, like, to get her stuff back, because then when her name wasn't on the door, her dorm key, like the thing to get into the dorm building, it stopped working. And so, but then it started working again, because she went over to Res Life and they turned it back on. So I don't know what happened, really, but that's all she said.
So it wasn't, so when she got there, it didn't work, and then she went and talked to them.
Yeah.
And then, so is this like, so the key is the outside door, and then you have to use one for the inside door?
No, so there's kind of. There's a key card, like our Mount Union ID, and that's when you swipe in, so like you can get into the building.
Okay.
And then there's the actual key for the room. The swiper wasn't working, the key swiper wasn't working.
Okay.
So I think she just told us that she didn't fill like the housing form out, like this, when we had to come back, we had to fill out a form saying we're coming back, and she said she signed something off wrong. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she told us.
Sydney'in notları birinci sınıfın başlarında dramatik bir şekilde düştü ve bu durum sonucunda üniversiteden uzaklaştırıldı. Ancak bunu kimseye, hatta arkadaşlarına bile söylemedi ve bir üniversite personeli fark edene kadar derslere katılmaya devam etti. Bu akademik sorun Sydney için oldukça yeniydi çünkü lise yıllarında mükemmel bir öğrenciydi. Aldığı en düşük not B idi ve İngilizce öğretmeni onu daha genç öğrencilere mentor olarak seçmişti.
What kind of student was she?
She was a good student, so she had a high GPA. She cared about her grades. She did her work. She was conscientious. She was quiet. She was respectful, and had a lot of friends, and was a well-liked student, well-liked person, respected by the faculty.
Was Sydney ever, to your knowledge, in trouble for fighting or arguing?
No, she was not to my knowledge.
Was she ever that kind of kid who was causing trouble, arguing with other students, causing drama, anything like that?
No, never.
Öğretmen, Sydney'in kaygı nöbetleri ve mükemmeliyetçilik eğilimini vurgulayan bir olayı da paylaştı.
Can you tell the jury what you recall about that?
I didn't have a class, so it must have been when I had a planning period, and I was alone in my room, and the two of them came in, and Sydney was crying, and she was I would say distraught. And I said, what's wrong? And she said that she had a test, or I think it was a presentation for a chemistry class. And she said, I can't see the numbers. And I said, what do you mean you can't see the numbers? She's like, I can't see the numbers. I can't present. I can't see what's in front of me. And I said, okay. I said, how can I help you? What do you want me to do? And she was really upset. She was pretty upset about it. So I said, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want to go down and talk to the teacher, or do you want me to? And she asked me to go. So I went down and I talked to our teacher, and I said, I assume she took the test on another day. I wasn't the person in charge of that test.
Okay. And you've seen other students have nerves when it comes to presenting in front of a class. Is that correct?
I have. No one's ever told me they couldn't read the numbers, but certainly I've seen people be panicked, yes.
Sydney, durumunu herkesten gizlemeye devam etti ve üniversitenin yurt binasında kalmayı sürdürdü. Ancak yönetimden üçüncü ve son uyarıyı aldıktan sonra ayrılmak zorunda kaldı. Arkadaşlarına ise ailesinin bir süre üniversiteden uzak durmasını istediğini söyleyerek durumu farklı şekilde açıkladı.
I think when she first came in, I said, Sydney, there seems to be some confusion. It seems as though you haven't moved out of your residence hall yet, from what I can tell. But you're not enrolled this semester. You're not a student here this semester. And at first she replied to me that, oh, I am, but I'm still a student here. And
okay,
I said, well,
did that catch your attention?
It did. And I had double checked before I called to see if, because I thought maybe she had appealed and I hadn't been notified that an appeal had gone through. So I checked and there was no schedule for Sydney. And I also checked at that time to make sure that she had received, with the Academic Affairs Office, to make sure she had received the letter and signed for it, in the event that maybe if she didn't get the letter, she didn't know she was suspended, and she had just come back and gone, started going to classes thinking she was, not realizing that she was suspended, on the off chance that could happen. But I was able to verify from the Academic Affairs Office that they had received back from the post office that the letter had been signed for.
Olay günü, dedektifler soruşturmayı derinleştirmek amacıyla baba ile görüşme gerçekleştirdi. Ancak baba, olayın hala nasıl meydana geldiğine dair herhangi bir bilgiye sahip değildi ve kızının sağlık durumu konusunda endişeliydi.
There's somebody down at the hospital then with Brenda. They'll interview Brenda. They'll interview Sydney. Because they were talking to Sydney was just laying there, just. It was clear shock.
You saw all those cars?
Yeah.
That are out there. So the protocol is, and I can't tell you this happened because I wasn't there, but I'm sure what happened is when they left with Brenda and Sydney, somebody went with them or followed them to the hospital.
Yeah, that's in separate transport.
That's usually what happens. Okay. That's the protocol what happens.
Who'd you get a call from? Or what happened?
Got a call from him, call from me.
Oh, okay.
He said there was a call, went out, a distress call from the University of Mount Union where my daughter was going, and said, female in distress. And I said, well, that's funny because Brenda's there, my wife. So I said, well, let me call. So I called Brenda, and it rings and rings on the cell phone, no answer. I call Sydney back, it rings and rings and rings, no answer. I call Brenda back, ring, ring, ring, no answer. I'm pacing around. I call Jeep back, and as I'm on the phone with him, telling him there's no answer, my doctor calls me back and said, "Oh, Mom's on the phone with Mount Union." I said, "Well, cops are on the way," and she went, "There's just a break-in," and she just started going off. She said, "What?" She said, "There's been somebody broke into the house. There's blood everywhere." And I'm like, "Stop!" And then that's when I called. I'm sure there was conversations after that, but I'm not going to remember the detail. She was hysterical and crying. I called Jeep back and said, "Yeah, I don't know what I told you. I don't know if I said it was legit or it's the cops on the way. There's been a break-in, city," and I left. Drove home and saw about.
So at first, when you talked to her, she said that your wife was on the phone with Mount Union.
Yes. And as soon as I said, "Cops are on the way," the hysterics started.
Is she still attending Mount Union?
Well, as far as we knew up until today, yes, but apparently not for the last, I don't know, maybe couple weeks, because I tried to get on, I don't know, this was a couple weeks ago, I tried to get on the website I like to check the balance, and she's been coming home on and off on the weekends a little, just odd, little frequently, never seemed odd for sorts, I mean, she acted perfectly normal. But she came back, and I'm like questioning, well, why aren't you at school? Why are you coming home? And, it's all the same, just, the vague non-answers. And so she turned off her Life 360 app. But I think on that app, you can't see where she's going. You can kind of see highlights of where the phone was. Well, I'm kind of looking, I'm like, well, you're not where you're supposed to be. This is kind of weird. So I called her on it, and I said, because I went on, so then I tried to go on the Mount Union website, and I figured, I was going to see if there's anything on that. Parents only have so much, Right. I'm willing to pay the bill and everything, but if you want to find anything about it, you're out of luck. Right. So, but I figured I'm going to try. So I sign on, it says your password or your login or password ID doesn't work. I'm like, well, that's weird. So I recover my password, and I put in the right answer, and it didn't work. And I did that a few times, and I texted her back and said, something's not working. What's wrong? She comes up with something that says the website's down, basically, and but I'm working on it. So a few days passed later. Nothing seems out of the ordinary until maybe it was today, I tried to get back. Oh, Mount Union calls me today because I sent them an email that says, my user ID is this, my ID is this, my password's not working, my recovery answer won't work, and I know where I was born, I know my car, and it doesn't when you type in your recovery email, the system just it didn't recognize it. So I sent Mount Union Billing an email and says basically, what's wrong? So she calls me back today and says, well, the reason you can't get on, long story short, is your daughter's unenrolled. So I went, what's going on? So I text Sydney, I'm like, oh, give me a call. I have a question to ask you. I call her, no answer. I say, give me a call, question to ask. I have a question to ask you. And I look on that little Life 360 app, and her car was at home. I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. So I leave my phone at home so she can't track me. And I go home, and there she is. She's at home. Perfectly normal. She's crying because I said, what's going on? Are you not going to school? She goes, I'm overwhelmed in school, and I don't really like what I'm doing, and it seems like it's a waste of my time and your money. I said, well, but that's all part of it. Nobody's going to tell you you need to do what you're doing when you're 20. You need to figure it out, though. But you have to work through the problem. You can't just ignore the problem and have it go away.
I'm sorry, when did you have that conversation?
Today, like 11:30. I don't remember. Yeah, it was. I left work because it was before lunch. It was maybe around 11 because I was probably there from 11 to 11:30. So from her phone call. So that, that's what I said. My recommendation is call the school back, call the student union, get reinstated. And then if you have to take the summer off, take the summer off. Figure out what you want. She was going to take summer class because she changed a couple majors. And that's what she goes, all my friends have their shit together and I don't. I said, well, I'm 54 and I don't have my shit together. Don't look at it that way. You need to work the problem. You can't just have the problem sit there and ignoring it is not going to do you any good.
Brenda Powell, hastanede yapılan tüm müdahalelere rağmen hayatını kaybetti. Adli tıp raporunda, başına aldığı şiddetli darbeler ve boynuna isabet eden bıçak yaraları sonucu yaşamını yitirdiği tespit edildi. Ölümü resmi olarak cinayet vakası olarak kayıtlara geçti. Kısa süre sonra dedektifler bu acı haberi baba ile paylaştı. Ancak kötü haberler bununla da sınırlı değildi. Dedektifler, katil zanlısı olarak kızını düşündüklerini söyledi.
Well, I have really bad news. Your wife passed away.
What happened?
We're not sure. It looks like, I don't think someone broke into the house. I don't know if your wife and daughter got into an argument, got physical. I mean, the window was broken, but there's no forced entry into the house. The window's broken, but nobody actually came through that window. And the sliding door was unlocked. So, did your wife and daughter ever have like really heated arguments?
No.
So we're here for you, Steve. We're here for anything that happens from here on out, okay?
This is not possible.
Your son's outside, but he doesn't know anything that's going on.
My son's here?
Yes. We got him from school because in a situation, the way social media is, people, we didn't want him to be at school by himself.
Would you like one of us to just go be with your son?
I don't know.
Take your time.
Olayın medyada yer almaya başlamasıyla polisler oğlunun yaşanan olayları kontrolsüz bir kaynaktan öğrenmesini engellemek için onu okuldan alıp karakola getirdi. Bu karar çocuğu bu trajik olay karşısında korumak ve duygusal olarak daha fazla zarar görmesini önlemek içindi. Polisler haberi güvenli bir ortamda vermeyi tercih etti.
Did he go check to see Ryan Bell?
He was checking to see the hospital for sure. And then he went to talk to him.
Where's Andrew? Is he just sitting out there by himself, or is he with? Well, yeah, I don't know anybody in here with me when I talk to him. That's he is. Yeah, I don't want anybody else with me and him. I don't know if that's legal. I don't care.
Yeah, you don't want any of that?
I don't want any of you. No, I just want Andrew.
So you just kind of get us on your
I will.
website. Sorry to do it.
Do you want to do it? I don't know. Mom, Dad, no, I don't know. Mommy, I don't know what happened yet. Sydney's hurt. I don't know what happened to everyone. It's just you and me. Sydney's not good. I know Sydney's not that. Oh my God, thank you. But I don't know what's going on yet. But they just told me Mom died. Mom. It's just not.
Dedektifler, topladıkları tüm bilgiler doğrultusunda olayın nasıl geliştiğine dair genel bir tablo oluşturdu. Anne, kızıyla üniversitedeki durumu hakkında konuşurken aralarında bir tartışma başladı. Bu sırada anne, üniversite yönetimine sesli bir mesaj göndererek kendisini aramalarını ve durumu doğrulamalarını istedi. Telefon geldiğinde Sydney, yalanlarının ortaya çıkmasından korkarak öfkeyle annesinin başına birkaç kez demir bir tava ile vurdu. Ardından olayı bir hırsızlık girişimi olarak göstermek için annesini defalarca bıçakladı. Daha sonra camı yumruklayarak ellerinde kesikler oluşturdu ve ağlamaya başladı. Böylece olayın bir soygun gibi görünmesini sağlamaya çalıştı. Annesinin cinayetiyle suçlanarak tutuklandıktan sonra 3 günlük bir değerlendirme için bir psikiyatri merkezine götürüldü. Psikoz nöbeti geçirdiği tespit edildi. 2 psikiyatrist tarafından şizofreninin ilk atağını yaşayan biri olarak değerlendirildi ve bir psikiyatri hastanesine sevk edildi. 2021 yılında bir uzman doktor tarafından tekrar değerlendirildi ve kendisine şizofreni ile majör depresyon teşhisi kondu. Doktora göre Sydney saldırıdan önceki aylarda yavaş yavaş gerçeklikten kopmaya başlamış, görsel ve işitsel halüsinasyonlar görmüştü. Ancak bu semptomları ve üniversiteden uzaklaştırılmasını kendi oluşturduğu imajla bağdaşmadığı için gizlemişti.
You could say it was because she was deceptive. I think that a more likely explanation is that failing was not an option in her mind. I mean, in her mind, if she failed, then she was a failure. And I think that is when some of the early manifestations of thought disorder, some of the early auditory hallucinations were manifest, but again, she didn't seek or couldn't seek help because, you know, if you're a successful graduate student athlete at Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's, you don't do that. And it was just, it was inconsistent with her picture of herself. I think that things began to, it's kind of like a building wave, you know, and I think the wave really began to get out of control probably in November, December of 2019. And again, I believe that it's very likely that at that point she was already, if she hadn't begun the process even earlier, probably maybe even summer of 19, certainly during the fall of 19, she began to kind of cross the line from normal self-critical thoughts to significantly disordered thoughts, to psychotic thoughts, including highly critical auditory hallucinations. You're worthless, you're a failure, you don't deserve to live, those kinds of thoughts.
I have an episode apparently where she felt that she was having some symptoms again, and she reported it immediately to her therapist and was advised to, I don't know if the therapist called the doctor or if Sydney called the doctor right now, but the psychiatrist was notified immediately, and he changed her medication, and that made a huge difference after that. She reported to me that her symptoms were settling down again. She wasn't hearing so many noises. And I could just tell a whole difference in her demeanor at that point, where she really was starting to be Sydney again.
Okay. So Sydney has spent just about every day with you since March 16, 2022.
Yes.
Do you think she's faking a serious mental illness? Okay. Is she responding to changes in the medication?
Yes.
Cinayetin ardından geçen birkaç ay içinde Sidney Powell'ın beyin hasarı ve epilepsi açısından tıbbi değerlendirmesi gerçekleştirildi. Önceki yıllarda yaptığı spor aktiviteleri nedeniyle birden fazla beyin sarsıntısı geçirdiği, bunlardan ikisinin hastanede yatış gerektirdiği belirlendi. Ancak yapılan tetkiklerde epilepsi veya beyin hasarına dair herhangi bir kanıt bulunamadı. Doktorlar davranışlarının şizofreniye bağlı olduğunu belirledi. Savcılık ise bu değerlendirmeye katılmayarak davada cinayet suçlamasını sürdürme kararı aldı.
You're going to hear that Cindy was reporting before March of 2020 audio and visual hallucinations. She was hearing voices. You're not worth anything. You're worthless. People know it. You're a failure. Those were the voices. She was seeing things, cartoon figures, looking like fire was coming out of her hands. She's going to talk about these, the doctors are going to talk about, and the records are going to show these delusions of reference, meaning Sydney believed that everyone was talking about her.
Sidney Powell'ın davası 7 Eylül 2023 tarihinde başladı. Avukatları, delilik nedeniyle suçsuz olduğu yönünde bir savunma yaptı. Savunma adına tanıklık eden 3 uzman, Sidney'in annesini öldürdüğü sırada şiddetli bir psikotik nöbet geçirdiğini öne sürdü. Uzman doktor, Sidney'in saldırıya dair yalnızca anlık hatıraları olduğunu belirtti. Ona göre Sidney annesiyle oturup onu teselli ettiğini, bodrum merdivenlerinden inip çıktığını ve uzaklaşmak istediğini hatırlıyordu. Daha sonra hatırladığı şey ise hastanede olmasıydı. Savcılık, Sidney'in zihinsel sağlık sorunları olmasına rağmen suç anında hukuki delilik kriterlerini karşılamadığını savundu ve davalarını destekleyen bir dizi kanıt sundu. Davanın baş dedektifi ise Sidney'in cinayetten sonra yalan söyleyecek kadar bilinçli olduğunu ve suç mahallini bir hırsızlık gibi gösterecek kadar planlı davrandığını iddia etti. Polislerin yolda olduklarını öğrendiğinde zamanı tükenmişti, ancak yine de bir hırsızın suçlu olduğunu söyleyecek kadar kendindeydi. Savcılığın psikoloğu ise Sidney'in şizofreni teşhisine katılmadığını, bunun yerine sınırda kişilik bozukluğu, zihinsel hastalık taklidi yapma eğilimi ve tanımlanamayan bir anksiyete bozukluğu belirtileri gösterdiğini ifade etti.
I mentioned when I first came in this courtroom that this case is not, I don't even want to say that. This case is difficult. We're not going to hide that. It pulls on the emotions and the connections that each of us make as humans. It draws on our own experiences with struggles with mental health and relationships and those in our family. And I want to remind you that the state is aware of mental health. We acknowledge that. We acknowledge that even in Ms. Powell, anxieties and depressions and concerns have existed, that this lie was a heavy burden. But I need to remind you that mental health is not insanity. The law controls that. It's okay for you to recognize someone's anxiety, someone's mental health issues, even Ms. Powell's. I'm going to ask you to do that. It's okay to recognize the struggles in school and the fear of letting those down as heavy. But to relate these struggles to that of insanity that does not line up and it shouldn't line up. You must use the evidence that's available to you to understand what her mindset was at the time of the crime.
Yaklaşık 3 hafta süren yargılamanın ardından jüri, sanığın suçu işlediği sırada akli dengesinin yerinde olup olmadığını da değerlendirdi. Tüm delilleri ve uzman tanıkların ifadelerini dinleyen jüri, oy birliğiyle Sidney Powell'ı annesini öldürmekten suçlu buldu ve akıl sağlığına yönelik savunmasını reddetti. Sidney, 15 yıl sonra şartlı tahliye hakkıyla ömür boyu hapis cezasına çarptırıldı.
Verdict form number 1 as to count 1 reads, "We the jury in this case being duly impaneled, sworn and affirmed, do hereby find the defendant Sidney Powell guilty of the offense of murder as charged in count 1."
Ancak Aralık 2024 tarihinde istinaf mahkemesi davayla ilgili kritik bir karar vererek Sidney Powell'ın mahkumiyet kararını bozdu. Kısacası Mart 2020'de yaşanan bu trajik olayla ilgili hukuki süreç halen tamamlanmış değil. Başlangıçta ömür boyu hapis cezası alan Sidney Powell, 3 yargıçtan oluşan istinaf mahkemesinin kararıyla yeniden yargılama hakkı elde edebilir.